Hello everyone, TMMgamer, and today I have the pleasure of bringing you my very first FIFA 15 video. It's finally here, it's been released, and I've gone out and got it on PC and started to play it, and I have to say, I'm pretty happy with how it's playing at the moment. The one problem is, and this is the big problem at the moment, is that when I'm trying to record it with fraps, it chugs absolutely monumentally. The frame rate just collapses, and it's definitely not my computer, because I'm running FIFA and I play the games without fraps running. It runs absolutely fine on a very high graphical setting. It looks brilliant, the frame rate's constantly very high, and the second I run fraps, it's fine for about 5 minutes and it just starts to chug and chug and chug. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to record any online footage yet. I've played a few online games just to have a little bit of a flavour so I can do this first impressions for you. So there'll be some footage of some single player games up in the background, just a few games I played just to get a rough feel, to see how it was, to experiment a little bit with the passing and the tactics and see how it went. So that'll be running in the background for you at the moment. Fingers crossed I can get that fixed and actually start to record some online, which would be nice. And if you guys have any ideas how I can do that, if you've had experience with fraps before, I would be delighted to hear anything you have, because it's not fantastic, as you'll probably see from some of the footage in the background. But let's actually talk about the gameplay. Now, it's always a little bit misleading with a demo on FIFA. I always like to play the game properly before I do a first impressions and actually begin to get a feel of it. But the first thing I've really noticed from my first couple of games is just how slick the passing and the first touch is. Now, in FIFA 14, there was a lot of, I won't say controversy, but certainly a lot of opinions voiced that the first touch was quite brutal and unforgiving, and it certainly took a little bit of modification with the style. And the way I got around it is, letting go of the sprint button completely when the ball was about to arrive to my player, and that seemed to work. But what I've noticed, even with my bronze guys and my ultimate team, and that's one thing I'm going to mention very briefly in a little bit, but even with the bronze guys, I can zip the ball around really nicely, and their touch is quite forgiving. And obviously it's not as great. I played a warm-up game with Real Madrid and against Burnley just to see how it went, and with them you really could fire it around. But even with the bronze guys, the 50, 60 rated bronze guys, you can ping it around quite nicely, and that's really good. Anything that encourages players to pass instead of whack the ball upfield, I'm certainly a massive fan. Another thing that I've immediately noticed is the goalkeepers, and EA absolutely hammered just how much they had improved goalkeeping in all of the, the promo stuff, they released a video just on goalkeeping, and you can notice it. There was one example, I'd run through on goal and I'd tried to do a little shimmy and put the ball past the other side of the keeper, and the keeper sort of went the wrong way and stuck his foot out and made a great save with his foot. I thought, that looks really cool. Even though I've missed the chance, it was a very realistic looking save, and it's definitely an improvement. One thing I have noticed as well is that they have tweaked the ball striking and the finishing, because there was one really easy way to score a goal in FIFA 14, and that was basically you ran around the outside of the channel. So for example, if you're a right-footed player, you're running towards the right-hand side of the penalty area, and then you just hit the ball with a lot of pace, and you try and hit it with the outside of your foot, and it would basically just whip into the top corner. And I tried that a couple of times with Shane Long and one with Karim Benzema, and I ended up taking off a spectator's head in the stands and flying it over the bar. And so I think it definitely needs a little bit of finesse with the finishing. Not to say you have to finesse shoot all the time, but you've got to pay a little bit more attention to ball positioning when you strike the ball and all that good stuff. So that's the core that I've noticed. I've only really played for about 2 hours, because a lot of that has been trying to fix fraps, which has really been doing my head in. But those are the things I've definitely noticed very early on. Another thing I've noticed is corners. They have drastically changed how easy it is to put a massive bending corner in, and that was one of the major things with FIFA 14, that corners were incredibly easy to score from. They were a major attacking asset, and they might not have made them harder, but they've certainly changed them, and that's going to be one of my priorities in the first week or two of this FIFA. Experimenting with corners, seeing what works, because really, in FIFA 14 there was absolutely no need at all to tinker with the set pieces, because they've had a set piece creator in FIFA for a number of years now, but there was just no point, because you could just hit a very, very powerful corner with a lot of away swing or in swing, and you could just fire it into the box, and your centre halves would win the header a lot of the time, and it would bullet into the top corner. And I've had a couple of corners where I tried that and it just didn't work, even with somebody with pretty decent curve. It wasn't happening. So that's one thing they've definitely tweaked as well. But overall, I'm pretty pleased. All the crowd mechanics look awesome. I'm liking the little cutscenes they're doing. It certainly helps with the immersion. One thing I'm not a massive fan of is that there's a clock slowdown. So, for example, when there's a throw-in or a goal kick, the clock slows down. Not a huge fan of that. I want the pace of the game to still be chugging along quite nicely. But I have to say, first impressions are pretty good. Obviously, it needs a lot more time. I've barely played the game, and I haven't been able to even record an online game because of the problems I've been having with fraps. But I have to say, I'm pretty optimistic. One problem, there has been a bug I've encountered. It didn't let me name my ultimate team, which is a little bit frustrating. So I'm now called Lion FC, I think, which is just, well, it's mediocre to say the least. So I've been on the EA forums and it seems like it's quite a common bug, so fingers crossed they can get that fixed. That's one of the things that really annoys me with game releases. This is a £50 game that has been in development for a long time, and they can't even fix a simple thing so that you can name your own ultimate team. It's a little bit, things like that for me are unforgivable, because that is such an important thing. It's so obvious that a person would want to call their ultimate team whatever they wanted. For them to not have tested that, to QA'd that, it's a little bit of a downer, a little bit of a problem for me. But that's the only thing I've noticed so far which has been a big error or something I completely disagree with. So, fingers crossed, my initial positive reaction will be borne out over the next couple of weeks. But I'm going to just take this opportunity to say, the things that I'm going to be focusing on immediately in the next month are going to be tutorials. This is a big opportunity to get the tutorials out and help you guys early on in the game. Corners is definitely a priority. Like I mentioned, they've changed that so much. And I'm probably going to do an attacking tutorial as well, because the passing is so slick now. I think it's something that you can use a lot more than you could before. And you had to be a lot more careful with your passing on the previous FIFA. So fingers crossed you can continue to fire it around and then get a tutorial up on that as soon as I can. But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any comments or opinions on the release day FIFA, how do you feel? Are you enjoying it? Have you noticed any problems? Have there been any bugs for you? What features do you like? All of that good stuff. I'll be delighted to hear from you. But until next time, once again, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.